There are kids running around, and everyone's got their own expectations. They like the way I cook, how I set up the decorations, and how I make everything feel just like Grandma used to. I've tried to keep up with it all. Bought new tablecloths, different lights for Christmas, and even those fancy serving dishes that I never use outside of these events. But here's the thing, the costs keep adding up. Between the food, drinks, decorations, and little extras to keep the kids entertained, it's not cheap. And I'm the one paying for it all. Last year, I did the math, and I realized that I spent enough to cover a decent vacation for myself. Something I haven't done in years because every extra penny seems to go into these gatherings. Around this time last year, I finally got the courage to ask my family for a bit of help. Nothing crazy, just suggested that maybe everyone could chip in a little for the food or bring a side dish. I brought it up after dinner one night thinking it would be a casual conversation. Instead, the room went dead silent. Everyone just stared at me like I'd broken some unspoken rule. My mom quickly changed the subject. My brother made a joke about me being Mr. Moneybags, and that was it. Next thing I knew, I was still footing the bill while they brought store-bought desserts and called it a contribution. The last Thanksgiving was kind of my breaking point. The whole family was overeating and drinking and catching up while I was running around making sure the turkey didn't burn and the drink stayed filled. The dishwasher decided to quit halfway through the night, and by the time everyone left, I was stuck hand-washing dishes until nearly 2 a.m. Meanwhile, my family left early saying how tired they were without a second thought to the mess they left behind. I think that's when it hit me, how little time I actually get to enjoy these holidays myself. For my family, it's a chance to relax, to sit back and enjoy a home-cooked meal in a familiar place. But for me, it's become a full-time job. I wake up at the crack of dawn to start prepping, and by the time I'm finished cleaning up, it's like the day just vanished. And the pressure isn't just about the time and money, it's about the expectations. Every time I hint that maybe I won't host the next one, my mom just brushes it off with comments like, "But you're so good at it or it wouldn't be the same anywhere else." I even tried to bring it up gently at Christmas last year, saying something like, "Maybe it's time to pass the torch." My mom just looked at me and said, "Well, where else would we go?" My brother, of course, didn't jump in to offer his place. He just nodded along, like he didn't have a stake in it. I couldn't help but feel a bit resentful. It's not like he doesn't have the space or the means to help out. He just doesn't want the hassle. And meanwhile, I'm left juggling credit card debt because I keep trying to make each holiday special. I've been putting off having a serious talk with them, mostly because I'm worried about how they'll react. My parents are very traditional and I know they'd be disappointed if I stopped hosting. They'd see it as me turning my back on the family legacy. But it's not just about the money or the work anymore. It's the fact that I feel taken for granted. For years, I've put up with it, telling myself that it's worth it to keep the family together. But lately, I'm starting to wonder if it's really worth the toll it's taking on me. I used to love the holidays, but now I just dread them. I dread the planning, the cooking, the cleaning, and the feeling of being overlooked. It's not a good place to be, and I know that if I don't make a change soon, I'm going to end up resenting my family even more. So here I am, debating how to break the news to them that I need a break. I know it's going to cause drama, my family doesn't handle change well. But for the first time I feel like I need to put myself first, even if it means rocking the boat. I just hope they understand or at least try to before it's too late. Update 1. So I decided to rip off the Band-Aid. I invited my parents and my brother over for brunch at my place. Figured it would be easier to explain everything in person, without distractions. I went all out with the food, eggs, bacon, fresh fruit, the whole 9 yards. The mood was light when they arrived. My dad started talking about his golf game, my mom was asking about my neighbor's new dog, and my brother was busy scrolling through his phone while his kids played in the corner. It felt like a typical Sunday morning. Once everyone had eaten I figured it was as good a time as any. I cleared my throat and told them that I needed to talk about the holidays this year. As soon as I brought it up my mom's smile faded and my brother stopped scrolling. My dad kept eating, but I could see the curiosity in his eyes. I went straight into it, explaining that hosting was getting to be too much for me. I talked about the costs, how I've been putting everything on my credit card, and how I haven't really been able to enjoy the holidays myself. For a few seconds, there was just silence. My dad finally broke it, waving his hand like he was brushing away a fly. He said something about how it wasn't a big deal, and that the family could pitch in a little more this year, but he didn't really seem to get it. I tried to explain that it wasn't just the money, it was the time and effort too. I reminded them about the dishwasher breaking last Thanksgiving, how I'd been stuck doing dishes while everyone else was relaxing. I could see my mom starting to frown, her face getting that pinched look she always gets when she doesn't like what she's hearing. My mom jumped in, talking about how my grandmother had hosted every year without ever complaining, how it kept the family close. She brought up memories of my grandma's old house, how it had always felt like home, and how she thought I'd been doing a great job continuing the tradition.